Some say Chinese is one of the most difficult languages in the world, and learning it is almost impossible.
So learning Chinese, the most difficult thing.
非常非常非常非常非常难.
So I'm sort of tone deaf. I can't really hear them.
I think the cultural mindset is the biggest complication for
The grammar.
知吃思诗都很难
It's just complicated so much.
Only because you're not learning it in the right way. Why not try Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
你好，欢迎收听随行汉语 Welcome to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin, joined by Carl Benjaminson, who's been spending a long time every day practicing calligraphy.
I have, and I'd like to think that I am very slowly becoming less terrible than I was.
You're not terrible at all. You are really good at writing those pieces, those calligraphy works that I have seen, and I used that introduction because I really want to share that with our audience. That is, as long as you put your heart in it and as long as you do your time. But for Carl's case, enjoying his time practicing, you will be really good at the language that, or at anything that you originally thought was very foreign and very hard to grasp.
And I hope one day that my Chinese will be good enough that I can understand everything that I've written beautifully.
That is the goal, not only for you, but also for the show. And for our dear listeners, if you're interested in Chinese culture and you want to get to grips with the Chinese language, then this is the show for you. Stick with us for 30 minutes a day and you soon see the rewards. And for more fun Chinese learning, follow our Facebook page, CRI Learn Chinese, to watch many fun videos and live streams. But now, let's provide you with some free Chinese for takeaway. 哇，这个小孩好可爱啊！是啊，长得像他爸爸。尤其是那双大眼睛，真精神。还有那板寸，看起来好凉快。
This seems like a pretty straightforward conversation and kind of appropriate because not 5 minutes before we came into the studio, there is an adorably cute kid sleeping in a chair in the corner of the office waiting for his mum to finish work.
Yeah, and one thing that I noticed that is also very interesting is that people seem to have very high opinion towards the kids or infant of another race. For example, I think Western people think Chinese babies are the cutest.
That's because they are the cutest.
See, and I think some of the Western babies with the ridiculously big eyes and, round face are really cute.
See, maybe it's just where we find things interesting that we're maybe less familiar with.
Yeah, that might be the reason. And today we're going to discuss how to describe a kid in Chinese when you really think they're cute and adorable and you want to use their language to maybe impress their parents because I'm pretty sure they don't understand. But for the first sentence, 哇，这个小孩好可爱.
Wow, this kid is so cute. I love this particle that we've begun with, which I had not come across before. Wow, which is like, wow, it is pretty much what it sounds like.
Yes. So in China, if you don't know a lot of Chinese, but you still want to, kind of surprise the people surrounding you, there are several words you can remember, such as this one, 哇. So instead of saying wow, if you say 哇, at the very beginning of your English sentence, people would stop and look at you as if you've just spoken Chinese for a bit. And another one would be 哎呦.
As in like, aya. Is the other one, depending on where you're from.
Yeah.
I also like that the sound, if you make when you're thinking, is actually here. It's a slightly different sound.
And when I was studying in Europe, the teacher said, you Chinese people like to make a sound when you understand. That's I think that's also very fun. So, means like, now I understand. Yeah, so some maybe not very meaningful, but definitely useful syllables.
That makes you sound a little bit more native.
Yes. So we have 哇 here, meaning like, whoa. 这个小孩
So this small child.
This small child. And 小孩 here is a typical northern pronunciation because I'm pretty sure a lot of the southern people don't understand the concept or do not how to practice the concept of 儿化音. They will say 小孩.
It's the R at the end of it which makes it northern.
Yes, so 小孩, that'll be a very northern way. That'll be the 儿化音 here. 好可爱啊.
It's very, very cute. So, hao in this case is replacing a word like hen. So, very something. And ke'ai is cute.
And the thing is, we put the a at the end of the sentence as a way to stress the tone, to stress how cute this kid is. If you say 很可爱啊, that works. But if you say 非常可爱啊, that sounds a little bit less natural. Not that it's wrong. I'm just saying, if you're saying 好可爱啊, it flows better. Just a side note. And then part B said, 是啊，长得像他爸爸.
Yeah, he looks like his dad. So one of the things that you'll first learn about Chinese, or the first thing you'll be told, is that there's no yes and no in Chinese. And then you start learning Chinese and you discover that 是啊 is basically yes. And yeah, so as long as you know 是啊 is basically close enough to yes, then you'll be right.
And here, 长得像 is a grammar structure that we've been talked about several times. Here, this specific 的 in between 长 and 像 serves the function of completing the structure of a verb or a adjective plus 的 plus a adverb, in which case the adverb describes the verb or the adjective.
So that would be something like 写得好.
写得好, so 写 is right, 好 is good, so you write well.
Or another one could be 吃得多.
吃得多, so 吃 would be eat, 多 would be a lot, so you eat a lot. So here, 长得像 would be look like. 长 would be grow up to be or grow to a direction, and the direction is 像, so like. And like what? Like his dad.
他爸爸.
尤其是那双大眼睛，真精神。
Especially those big eyes. They're so beautiful. Well, they're so nice.
Yeah, 尤其 would be especially. And 是 is that. 那双 that pair of 大眼睛 big eyes. And here one thing I need to clarify is the pronunciation of the character 那 because I pronounced it as 内双. And 这 and 那 would be the case in the Chinese language that so many people mispronounced it, or the people who compiled the dictionary actually changed the pronunciation. So 这 and 那, 这个那个 meaning this, that, can also be pronounced as 这个那个. So this, that. Same character, two both acceptable pronunciations.
Does it vary depending on whether you're from the north or the south, or it's just there's two different ways of saying it?
There are two different ways of saying it, and the thing is, in daily conversation, people seldom use 这那. It's a little bit too pretentious.
So it's not like potato or potato, tomato, tomato.
It's a little bit more complicated than that.
Okay.
Because officially it's supposed to be 这 and 那, but in daily conversation you say 这 内 a lot, so that now if you put the pinyin 这个那个 into the dictionary, you can still find 这那.
And if you're wondering why I'm sitting here smiling like an idiot, is because it reminds me of a great joke told amongst Chinese learners, which is that our favorite Chinese dishes when we go to a restaurant are 这个 and 那个.
Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so here, 尤其是那双大眼睛 or 尤其是那双大眼睛真精神.
So 真 is very, and 精神 is cool or awesome.
精神 is kind of like energetic, high-spirited.
So they've got like beautiful, shiny, attention-grabbing eyes.
Yes, that'll be a good way to translate. 尤其是那双大眼睛，真精神。And then Part B said, 还有那板寸看起来好凉快。
And the bush top looks so good.
Bush top, 板寸. So 板 in again the northern way of speaking it, of pronouncing it, 板 or 板寸. 板寸 works as well, of course. 板 in itself means board. So like a literal wood board.
So you might call it like a flat top haircut. So it's really short on the sides and it's a little bit longer in the top and it's quite flat on
Quite
the top.
flat, yes. So that's 板寸. And 还有 would be also or and. Look at that 板寸看起来好凉快.
It looks so good. So 看起来 is to look at or pay attention to something. And 凉快 is cool, which are we saying that like the kid looks cool because he's got a cool haircut?
I think we're saying the kid looks cool as in his hair looks great and neat, that he won't feel hot because of the hairstyle. So like temperature.
So if it's like summer, he's got a good haircut because it's hot.
Yes.
This is one of those examples where something's cool or something's hot has a double meaning both in Chinese and in English sometimes.
Except that in Chinese, 凉快 is literally just, cool in terms of temperature, nothing else.
Okay.
So not confusing in Chinese. And we've encountered 儿化音 twice in the conversation. We have 小孩 and we have 板寸. And I consulted a lot of Beijinger, like native Beijing people, and they told me that there are many certain cases that they don't 儿化音 their word. And there are several cases that you can actually put R after a word. For example, 上班.
So go to work?
好玩.
Like have fun.
Yeah, 好玩 is kind of like it's fun. It's interesting. It's sometimes laughable. So if this joke is funny, you say 它很好玩. This is a funny joke. So yeah, playful, good to play with kind of meaning.
So this is one of those examples where often I would say it's a little bit easier to understand people when they're speaking in the north because they speak something a bit closer to like standard Chinese. Except in Beijing where people add the R sound to every second word and it can get really difficult to understand what they're trying to say.
A little bit, but R can definitely be used to serve a function on top of being a very unique traits that Beijing people have. For example, if you're describing something cute and small, you can add R. For example, 小鸟 would be a little bird or a birdie bird.
Yeah, like a birdie.
Yes, and also 小猫
like a kitten.
A kitten, 小狗
A small dog, a puppy.
A puppy. Yes, the thing is, you add R after certain nouns that are cute and small. You stress the cute and small. So any other questions towards the conversation?
No, I think that's pretty straightforward. Shall we give it a go?
Of course.
How about I go first? 哇，这个小孩好可爱。
是啊，长得像他爸爸。
尤其是那双大眼睛，真精神。
还有那板寸，看起来好凉快。You're listening to Takeaway Chinese with myself, Niu Honglin, and Carl Benjaminson. We would love to hear from you. Send us your thoughts via email to learnchinese@cri.com.cn. Coming up next, let's discuss some fun idioms and expressions you can use to describe cute kids. Don't go away, so you will take some Chinese away. Welcome back to Takeaway Chinese. I'm Niu Honglin, joined by Carl Benjaminson. Do you like kids, Carl?
Some of them are little terrors, but there are some genuinely cute, adorable children who are nice to hang out with.
I cannot agree more, which is why before jumping into the huggable, lovable, adorable expressions about kids, let's learn a different one first. That is 熊孩子. That's almost a term.
So what is 熊孩子?
熊 is bear and 孩子 is kids.
So I'm guessing something of a nightmare child who's a little bit hard to deal with?
Yes. If you think about it, 熊 is supposed to be good looking as they're round, they're a little bit chubby, they're supposed to be cute if you like bears or something. But here, 熊 actually refers to the personality of certain kids, that they go around running and jumping and little turtles breaking things. But this is not the kind of term that we use to, accuse kids of being kids, but more like if we say some kids are 熊孩子, we're actually a little bit judgmental towards their parents since they didn't do a good job telling their kids how to behave in public places. And that's there. I get it out of my system. Now let's talk about some nice expressions. For example, if the kid is really, really cute, a very modern way of saying cute in basically today's China is 萌. 萌 is almost a new word, or a word that we reinvented a little bit to mean cute. 萌.
So that comes from a Japanese word, mo?
Uh-huh.
So how would you use this word in sort of everyday conversation?
You just use it as a cuter replacement of 可爱. So we know 可爱 is adorable or lovable, and 萌 is a shorter one-syllable word. And 萌 is another way of saying it. But again, you can use 可爱 to describe kids and also female or young girls. You can use 萌 to do the same thing.
So you'd say 她好萌啊.
她好萌啊 would be she's very cute. And you can also use 萌 as a verb, which is the function that 可爱 does not have. For example, if you say 她萌到我了.
What does that mean?
Actually, it means, for example, we know 气着我了. That would be he makes me angry. And 萌 here has the same kind of function, the same way of using. That is, 她萌到我了 would be kind of like she's so cute and she makes me aww.
Oh, so she makes me feel cutesy.
Yeah, something like that. So 萌到我了, that's the function that 可爱 does not serve here. So 萌, kid can be 很萌, very cute. And another one I really like is 活泼.
活泼, like
Active.
So active or lively.
Lively,
or
yes.
vigorous.
Yes. So 活泼 is a absolute positive word. So if you say 这个孩子很活泼, this kid is very lively, you don't say it in a bad way, meaning this kid is running around everywhere, tearing things apart. But like, they're very cheerful. They're a little bit, let's say, bubbly, very peppy in that sense. And one word I don't really like personally is 乖. 乖.
So that means like well-behaved?
Well-behaved.
Like a good kid?
A good kid, but in the sense that they are very obedient. They do the things you want them to do. Because I'm not,
Beginning to understand why you maybe wouldn't like that word, knowing you quite well.
Yeah, and another thing is 乖 and 听话 are often put together. We know 听 is listen to or hear. 话 is the things people say. So 听话 literally means that the kid listen to what you say and do that.
It's a very Confucian is another way of saying that.
No, it's not. 听话 would be, listen to the things, very obedient. I'll put it as very obedient. And previously it has been a kind of like a golden standard of kids. If you listen to what your parents say, if you listen to what your teachers say, if you do what they told you to do, then you're a good kid. That is why 听话 or 乖 are the kind of words that people like to use to describe kids. But that has been changed or gradually be changing in the recent couple of years or decades, that people realize that for kids to have independent thinking ability, to be able to challenge the authority is also a very important trait.
Now, there was a word that you mentioned to me earlier, which I find incredibly confusing. And it's another descriptive word for children, and it means naughty, and it's 调皮.
调皮.
Now, I get that it means like mischievous, but like if you look at the actual word itself, you don't get a clue of that from the characters. So one means like to exchange or swap or transfer, and the other is skin or leather.
Yeah. To make you even more confused, actually 皮 in itself can mean this kid is very naughty. I have no idea why. It's just the case. It has that meaning. And just remember 调皮 or 顽皮. That would be naughty.
I just thought of a way you can remember it. So if you think of an exchange of skin, if your kid is naughty, he's going to get a smack. He's going to get an exchange of skin.
That's also not encouraged, by the way. Okay, so we have 调皮 or 顽皮 meaning naughty. We have 乖 meaning well-behaved or very obedient. And 活泼 very lively, very active, or very peppy.
And you have another word which all parents like to think of their kids in this way, which is 聪明,
聪明,
which is clever.
Clever.
Now, you might say to the parents, oh, 你的孩子很聪明, your kid's very clever. If the kid's not very clever, how would you say a bit slow or a bit dumb? Not to the parents, but when you're thinking that, what's the word to think of in Chinese?
I thought of a really good word to say it to the parents. You can actually say, 哦，你的孩子好乖哦. So to avoid saying if they are smart or not.
They're very well behaved.
They're very well behaved.
So they can be, which, leaves open the possibility they can be just as clever as their parents or just as stupid as their parents.
Exactly. And if you really need a word for dumb, that is 笨.
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 Like the counting word for books, the same ben.
A different tone, similar pronunciation.
Yeah, same
Tone.
character.
Yeah. So let's kick it up a notch by sharing some Chinese idioms. We've been discussing that kids that are cute are supposed to be chubby and round-shaped, both their eyes and their head. And there is a Chinese saying for that. 虎头虎脑. 虎 is tiger. 头 and 脑 both refer to head. So 虎头虎脑 would be a little kid with the head of a tiger. Basically the head of a tiger, but does not mean that their faces look like tigers, but more like they're round and they're cute, have big eyes.
See, I think of a panda when I think of that. I don't think of a tiger.
I think that's because in ancient China, we did see some tigers, but not so much pandas. And also tigers are regarded as courageous, brave, and strong. And that's the kind of characteristics you want their kid to have. You want them to grow up very brave and strongly.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so 虎头虎脑, the kid would look dignified and strong. 虎头虎脑.
So is that why sometimes people will give like a gift of a pillow with a tiger embroidered on it to a parent as a gift?
Yes. Usually during the kids' 满月酒. So 满月 would be the kids reaches 1 month old, and 酒 suggesting it's a party. So you send in a gift like that.
I have also seen very young kids with little adorable cloth shoes that have got tigers on them as well.
Yes. So 虎头虎脑, 虎头虎脑. And another one here is 粉雕玉琢. I really like. 粉雕玉琢. 粉 would be powder, but it's also the color pink. 玉 is jade. 雕琢 would be a sculpture or carve in something. So this kid is so cute and so delicate. Like he or she is carved from a piece of jade. Since Chinese people believe jade is the kind of stone that is very beautiful with a illuminating but not too shiny kind of illustrious.
So I'm picturing, like in Western culture, I think of a cherub. Like you often see them in Renaissance art, like a fat little chubby pink healthy looking child.
Yeah, that I can relate to that. Okay, so 粉雕玉琢. And funny enough, this word can also be used to describe a very delicate looking young lady. Really, really young and really, really delicate.
Are we talking like a teenager, or are we talking like someone in their 20s you could still use this expression?
Possibly teenager.
Okay.
In their 20s, there would be possibly teenagers.
Okay.
So 虎头虎脑 and 粉雕玉琢. These are two idioms we'd like to share today. And that brings us to the end of today's Takeaway Chinese. For more episodes of the show, you can download our app, China Plus, or if you want to read the script, you can also use the Easy FM app. There are also 3 podcast platforms for you to find us.
You can find us on Apple Podcast, SoundCloud, and Stitcher in case you'd like to listen to some of our previous shows, which we hope you do. You can also leave your thoughts, comments, and ratings. Please do take the time to leave us a rating because the more stars we get, the easier it is for other people to find this show.
And that is it for today. We'll see you next time.
再见。